Hello everybody and welcome to another one of my videos. Today I'm going to be making for you mackerel rundown. I hope you all enjoy this one. If you do, remember to like, share and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you want to leave a comment, please leave a comment in the comment section. We do get back to you on them, but there's going to be a time when we can't get back to everybody. But understand and bear with us, we can answer as many as we can. So we're going to show you our ingredients, what we're going to be using for today. Our ingredients, what we're going to be using today, we've got some spring onions and we've got some fresh thyme. We've got some garlic, Scotch bonnet, all-purpose seasoning, black pepper and onion granules. We've got our salt mackerel, what we're going to be using today, which is a salt mackerel. We've got some coconut milk, which I've used an old coconut and then juiced it, as we usually do. Didn't want to use the powder one. Got our sweet pepper. Got our tomatoes and our onions. We've got some frozen callaloo. This is the one from my garden, what I've got a little bit left over, which I'm going to use. And then we've got some spinach that we're going to be using. So those are our ingredients we're going to be using for today. So on our cooker we've got our pot with some water, which we're going to get that to the boil. So you want a high flame on this. So we've got our thing, and we're going to put our mackerel into that to boil off. Right, so we've got our chopping board. We're going to prepare some of these veg. Meanwhile, we're waiting for our fish to cook. So on our fire, we're going to put our Dutchie on. We've got some oil in there. So I'm going to just let that heat up meanwhile so I can prep the veg. So I've got some I'm just going to give these a rinse off. Right, so I'm just going to do my onions into thin slices. And I forgot to tell you, on the mackerel, because it's salted, we've had it soaking overnight. We've rinsed it off a few times, and then we put it to soak overnight, and then we've rinsed it off a few times before we boil it again. So what I usually do with my one, I let the water come up to the boil and pour off that water and then put some fresh one back in. So we've got our onions. Got our spring onions, which I just washed. We're going to cut those small as well. Right, so that's our onions. Going to be using about half of this pepper. Just going to give that a wash as well. So that's most of our veg prepared. Right, so just going to move the camera to show you. So as you can see, our water on our fish has come up to the boil now, so we're going to take that off and pour off this water. We're going to put fresh water in there and then let that boil, and then we're going to let it cool down and pick it. Right, so just bring the camera back. So we've got our oil in our pan. So into that we're going to put our onions. I'm just going to let that sweat off for a bit. And we're going to put our Scotch bonnet in there as well. That's using it without the seeds because we don't want it to pop. Trying to stop this pot from making too much noise. Right, so we've got that sweating down. Right, so we've got our onions sweating down. As you can see, they're nice and translucent. If I pronounce that right. We're going to put in our peppers and our thyme. And we're going to crush our garlic in there now. That's the only thing with these garlic press, you have to scrape out most of it all the time. Right, so we've got our garlic. I'm going to put our tomatoes in as well. We're just going to slice these and put them in. So that's all our tomatoes and everything gone in. We're just going to let that cook down for a bit. Right, so we've got our fish, which is where we want it, so we're going to take that off and then we're going to bring it over. Then we're going to take these out and put them into some cold water because we're going to be picking them, so we want it to cool down. So you're going to be trying to get as many bones out as you can. So that's our fish. So meanwhile, we've got our onions and things still going. We're just going to leave that, and while we'll start to let this cool down a bit more. Right. So what you're going to do now, you're just going to take off the bones. You won't get all the bones out. If you want to get the skin off, you can get the skin off as well. It's just mostly the bones what you want. Or sometimes you can get all the bone out in one go, just like that. Then you just got the few little, what we call the peg bones, to come out. So you've got the whole thing with the bones. And then you've got all that bit now. Shouldn't have any bones in this, but you might get the odd, still might get the odd few. Might not look like anything, but that's about what you get from a whole mackerel. Right, so that's our mackerel, and that's what we got out of it. Right, and we've still got our veg on the fire. Still got that going. So we'll get back to you in a minute. Right, so we've got this sweated down to where we want it. We're going to add our seasonings, which is our all-purpose black pepper and onion granules. If we need any salt, we're going to put that in later. But I think we got most of the salt out of the fish anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this to a bigger heat. This one's a bit slow. Right, so we've got that onto our larger heat. So we're going to add our callaloo to that now. That's the last of my callaloo from our garden. So just going to let this melt down a bit. Once it's, as you can see, we haven't put no water or anything into this. So we're just going to let that sweat down a little bit. Then we're going to add our spinach to it. So hopefully it will spring its own water in a minute. Right, so we're going to put our spinach in, which is the baby spinach leaves. You'll have to do this a bit at a time. So when I'm doing this, I have to do 2 different lots, because once I put the coconut milk in, some of my lot don't like the coconut milk, so I have to take some of this out. So as you see your spinach wilting there, you can add more. As you can see, I still haven't added any water or anything to this yet. We're just going to let this wilt down a bit, and we're going to see how much water is in there we need to add in it. So if you're going to add any water to this, you're going to add hot water. You don't want to cool this down. Right, so that's all our spinach. And we've got this on a low heat, which is a high flame, but it's on the lowest setting. Trying to steady this. It always keeps rocking around, don't know why. Let's try that. No. So we're going to put the heat on this and leave it for a few minutes and see if we need to add any water to it. Right, so we've got this cooking down. As you can see, I'm going to move this over to one side. Don't know if the camera can zoom in. You can see it's sprung its own water. So I just need to get rid of some of this water because I'm going to add our coconut milk to this. So there's still a lot of water in there. So I'm just going to let this cook down a bit more. Once it's come down a bit more, I'm going to take some out and then I'll get back to you. Right, so we've taken some out now. I'm going to add our coconut milk to it. So I don't want to add the liquid part to it. I'm just going to add just want to get the milk. Because I don't want to add any more water to it. I've got some more coconut milk here. So I just want to add the I'm just going to add a little bit of, see how much that is. If I need to add any more, I'll add a little bit more. So this takes it to a different dimension. Now you can smell the coconut and everything now. And then to that now, I'm going to add our mackerel, which we already picked. Might still be a few little bones in there, but you know, that's how fish is. Just going to break this fish up a bit more. I just need to add a little bit more coconut milk to that. Some other people do this a different way, but I have to do mine this way because I have to take some out for those who don't like the coconut milk. There's a little bit more to that. And then let that cook down. The other way of doing this, you would have cooked down your onions and everything, then added your fish then, and then the coconut milk, and then add the spinach and callaloo to it afterwards. But it still comes out the same, so you don't need to worry about it that much. So I'm just going to let that cook down a little bit more. Then we're going to plate up. Right, so we've got this to where we want it now. I'm going to turn off our fire and we're going to plate some up. Right, so we've got it all plated up. We're just having it with some ardo bread and a bit of avocado. So that's our mackerel rundown for you. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section and we will get back to you on them. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.